Welcome to the Love Pod, where inspiration, vision, and real connection come alive. Wherever you are, you belong here.
Welcome, welcome, Martha Burich. We are so pleased to have you here on the Love Pod. My name is Nathaniel. I'd just like to extend welcome and gratitude to all of our listeners here. We're so pleased to have you here, Martha. I mean, your topic on raising happy and responsible children, I think, is the dream and the wish that all parents have as their children grow up. And so we all want to do our best with our children, right? And I was just, as we were just talking earlier, telling you about our little 20-month-year-old little girl. She's now climbing everything, and she's so curious. She's so full of life. And part of my role I see is like guiding her in the best ways and showing her into this world. But I also know she's my greatest teacher. So always listening to her and enjoying that. So I'm really, really pleased to have you here. I'd love to invite you to just introduce yourself and tell us about your story, who you are, and why you're doing this incredibly important work.
Oh, thanks, Nathaniel. I'm absolutely so thrilled to be here. Your podcast is really so heart-centered. It's really wonderful. And we need people on our side. It is so tough. No
Mhm.
matter what we do as parents, we're always wrong. Somebody always says we're wrong. And we'll get into that, whether we are or not. I'll just tell you a quick story before I get into who I am. One woman told me that somebody said to her, "You're a bad mother."
Mm,
Oh my goodness,
mm,
a bad mother. But she had the presence of mind not to get defensive. And she goes, "Well, why do you say that?" And the woman said, "You don't let your child have any candy."
oh my goodness.
So, you know what? We get all these ideas in our mind. Oh my goodness, they
Yeah.
think that, they think this. And then she said something like that, you don't let your child have any candy. Oh, well, thank you for telling me. I appreciate the information. That's all you have to do, no matter what they say to you.
That's
As
funny.
long
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah, but see, we hear all these things in our heads. So, and who am I? And well, why the heck did I write this book, that book, this book, wherever it is there behind me? Yes, you can raise happy, responsible children. There was a time, Nathaniel, when I thought, and my husband too, my son's dad, we thought the way you raise a happy, responsible child is you always say yes.
Mm.
Whatever they want, you give it to them. Oh, goodness gracious. Did we ever learn the hard way? Woo-hoo-hoo. And as parents, we have a tendency to want to give our child
Yes.
everything. We don't want them to have to work hard like we did. We don't want them to suffer like we did. And and I'll get into this later too, but the three
hmm
L's of parenting, let's talk about them real quick. Love them enough to say no.
hmm
Lead by example and let them fail. As a parents, we have a tendency not to let our child fail. They forget their lunch at school. Hey, guess what? You're going to have to go hungry. Mom's
hmm
not driving lunch to school. You forgot your homework. Ooh, that's not my problem. Who's going to bring my work to my work for me? What, the dog? We've got to grow up. We've got to be
Yeah.
responsible. And if we don't teach our children to be responsible, nothing's going to work. So yes, there was a time when I was just completely clueless. That's where this whole book came from.
Mm.
And luckily, well, okay, I'm gonna give you my who's Martha? Who's Martha? Well,
Yeah, we
I'm
want to
gonna
hear
tell
it,
you this.
Martha.
Mom loved my brother better. Both of them.
Okay.
I had two older brothers. She loved them better. I just knew it all my life.
Mm. Mm.
And your brother's a genius. Your brother's a genius. Well, what am I? Chopped liver? So you and I don't really understand this, but anyone who has more than one child knows
Mm.
exactly what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. You will hear this every day. I was on the treadmill with a woman. She's 70. Her daughter's 50. Her daughter was whining just the other week. You always give my sister this. You always do that for
Mm.
my sister.
Mm.
And the woman said, I love both of you. You're my children. You have things about you I love. She has things about her I love. I try to treat you equally, but I'm not a robot.
hmm hmm
I can't treat you equally.
Yeah.
And so no matter what I do, one of you is going to see it as me loving the other better. So I guess we're all just going to have to coexist.
Mm.
But Nathaniel, a lot of people use.
Oh, you just froze up there a little bit, Martha. You're just frozen there a little bit, Martha, if you can hear me. Oh no, that's unfortunate. Give it a minute. Hmm. Shoot. Hmm. Hi, Martha. Can you hear me, Martha? Hey, Martha. We
We lost
lost you.
power.
Yeah, we lost. Did you lose power?
Yes. Boom. It just
Oh,
turned off and then came back on.
okay. Okay. Well, I didn't stop the live stream, but I paused the recording so we can edit it out. You were talking about maybe if you want us to take a few steps back, you were talking about not being robot and not and
Oh,
wanting to treat
right.
people equally. Um,
Yeah.
do you want to just start from there, or do you want me to prompt you with a question?
No, that's great. So I was talking with the woman on the treadmill, and her daughter's 50. She was and she was still complaining, you love my sister better. You do this for her, you do that for her. And this woman said, honey, I love the both of you equally, but I love different things about each of you because you're different people. I'm
Hmm.
not a robot. I try, but if you want to continue and whine and carry on like that, go right ahead. I can't stop you. And that's pretty much how it is. And if you have more than one child, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
And I was telling you about, my brother, Mr. Genius. Oh, your brother's a genius. What am I, chopped liver? So, but a lot of studies and things, and elite athletes will tell you it was that competition between their siblings that made them excel. So, this book partly came because I wanted to make my mother happy, and that was a
Okay.
big a big accomplishment for her. So,
Hmm.
there, Al, I finally finally I won up to you.
That's what. So I'm guessing it's that you said it's Alan.
Al, my brother's name is Al,
Al.
and
He
he's
hasn't
a
written a book
mechanical
yet.
he's a mechanical engineer. No, but
Okay.
he really is a smart guy, and
I'm sure he
you
is
know,
if he's a mechanical engineer. Yeah.
yeah, and you
Well,
can run your own
it's
business.
interesting, like something like engineering would be, seen as, a certain level of intelligence, but, writing books and helping people with relationships, I think a lot of those soft skills, like interpersonal skills and emotional skills, traditionally weren't recognized as important, right? Just like a lot of the roles that women have played, in raising families and stuff are downplayed. So I love that you've, captured all that wisdom and put it into a beautiful book, Martha. It's so important this topic. How has it changed your life writing this book, becoming an author, and now living this mission, which I see your passion in.
Well, yes, you can raise happy, responsible children. It came from, dealing with my own son. And I was a child psychology professor for 10 years and I taught high school special education for 16. All the stuff that I learned to turn my son's behavior around when he was 4, it took about 8 weeks. He was a completely different person.
Hmm.
He turned from a spoiled, unpleasant, really, our lives were miserable. Our lives were miserable, Nathaniel, to cooperative, pleasant, nice to talk to, and easy to get along with. And he would accept no for an answer. So
Hmm.
I put all of that in the book because it changed our lives and it has helped so many people. Let me give you an example. I go to the jail every week to help the substance abuse women.
Hmm.
So once a week I go and I talk to them. And one woman, and I bring the book and I tell them things out of the book. It's only 72 pages. It's just boom, 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 do this, do this. So one of them is communication, how to communicate. Well, one woman said that every time she talked to her mother, which was every week, they would argue and their relationship was terrible. And plus, the state was going to take her children away.
Hmm.
So I gave her this advice, which is in the book. I said, here's how you communicate. No matter what someone says to you, and we've already talked about this, you just be quiet and you
Hmm.
just listen. You don't defend yourself, no matter what they say. You say, well, thank you for telling me. I'll think about it. You don't have to do anything. Just don't be defensive. And all she did was that. So her mother would come at her, well,
Hmm.
you this, you that. And she'd go, oh, okay, mom. Well, thank you for telling me. I'll think about it. Change their relationship completely.
Hmm. Hmm.
Turned it around to where they were
Wow.
having pleasant conversations. They were enjoying each other. And even went so far as the state came to her and said, it's off the table. We are not going to take your children away.
Wow. Wow. That's
Whoa.
very transformative, Martha.
Yes, just that little, here's a, and you might know this, your daughter might be a little bit too young for this. As parents, Nathaniel, we have a tendency to want to make our children better. So
Yeah.
whenever we see them do something wrong, we have to point it out to them. And I'll give you this example. Anthony was 10. He comes home from being with a friend and a friend's dad. And Anthony was mad. Oh, was he mad? I can't believe this. We went shopping and he bought so and so a toy. He didn't buy me a toy. And being a good mother, Nathaniel, I had to straighten him out. Well, what do you expect? You're not his son. Whoops. Oh, he got so mad. He got
Hmm.
so hurt. You don't listen. I'm never talking to you again, is what he said to
Hmm.
me. And I realized my mistake, trying to correct rather than just listen and
Hmm.
be
Hmm.
there. So I said, oh, Anthony, I apologize. I'll listen. Tell me again. I'll listen. And he did. He told me the whole thing. I can't believe it. I'm so mad. Why didn't he buy me anything? Blah, blah, blah. Just really going at it. And I said, wow, sounds like you're really mad. And you're sad too that he didn't buy you anything. And he said, yes, I am. And then we just sat there for a minute or two. And then he said, okay, I'm going to go out and play. That's all.
Yeah.
He just needed someone to listen
Yeah. Yeah. It's
and
so,
accept his feelings.
it's such a valuable lesson for life. I feel like this is a perspective that I've used in a lot of different areas and different careers and things. And it's true, like we all want to be heard, and I think it extends beyond humankind as well. I feel like, there's something with just being held in that space of listening with presence that is just so. Um, it's like a warm mother's embrace.
Yeah, yeah. And we don't get enough of it. We don't get
Yeah,
enough of it. People don't get enough of people putting their arm around them or just touching them on the shoulder,
yeah,
grabbing their hand.
yeah.
Just pleasant, nice touches, just friendly things, pats on the back. We just don't get enough of that. And yes, so just be there for
Hmm.
people. And
Yeah,
that one thing, just be quiet. Just
yeah,
be quiet.
and really
Nobody
listen.
needs nobody needs your opinion. And yes, and that has helped me so much in so many of my relationships,
Mm,
because with teenagers, in high school, I had a student, oh, Nathaniel, she was my nemesis. Oh my goodness. And she was the general. She was in
mm.
control of a lot of other students. She would
I
just
know the
make my
type.
life miserable. And you know the type.
I know the type. I
And
remember a similar instance actually with a group of and there was one really strong leader and yeah, and if the teacher got on the bad side of that student, she would make it known in the class. Yeah.
And then, yeah, and then the teacher was kind of dead meat, you know? So the principal would say to me, Martha, you're going to have to get her on your side. And I resisted. Her? She's bad, she's terrible, she's terrible. And so I thought, you know what? You're going to have to do something.
Hmm.
So I did. I started, well, how are you today? Say, what do you do when you're not at school? Oh, what kind of stuff do you like? So then I found out whatever it was she liked. This was years ago. I would buy her magazines of the stuff that she liked.
Hmm.
Well, the next thing you know, she's having lunch with me. She's
Okay.
coming into my room during lunchtime, and then she tells me the big secret. You know, me and a lot of the girls from the class, we have gym before your class,
Hmm.
and we used to sit around and think about how we could make you mad.
Hmm.
We'd plot against
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So you know what? Just being kind
Yeah.
helped me so much,
Yeah. My mom
and it
used to
helped
say,
her.
oh, pardon me. I thought you were just pausing there. Yeah. My mom used to tell me to kill people with kindness, and I think that's such a beautiful demonstration of that and turning that around because how many people have like conflicts in a relationship, and if just one person rises above the ego in those situations and really truly listens, I mean, to even have the humility to listen to that truth come out and not react, that's wonderful. And that word in your book is so important. Responsible. You've probably seen a lot of people talk about splitting those words, our ability to respond. And I've always seen that as the polar opposite of reaction. And people can be
Mhm.
caught in these emotional patterns and loops. So how do you utilize your wisdom and all your training and your experience to really help parents empower their children to become those responsible and happy children? Because I mean, we've probably both met children who are like the super responsible ones, but they were stuffing all their feelings. So the happy and responsible is like kind of a match made in heaven there.
Yes, and you know, children who run their households, who parents let walk all over them, just like we did Anthony when he was younger, they're miserable. The child is miserable because the child knows, you know what, I'm in control and I don't know what I'm doing. In the
Hmm.
way back of their mind, they're scared, and the parents are scared. So you have a very, very bad situation. So
Hmm.
parents, here's where the three L's come into play, Nathaniel, and that is love them enough to say no. We know people who don't accept no for an answer make life miserable for
Hmm.
society.
Hmm.
They cut in line, they take what they want, they're selfish, they're self-centered, they cut in front, they speed, they drugs and alcohol, they're just unpleasant people to be around.
Hmm.
And if you can't say no to yourself, next thing you know, you have health problems, you have drug and alcohol problems, and you have problems with relationships because you don't know how to say no to yourself. So you certainly can't say no to anyone else, or you're too overbearing. So we have to learn how to accept no as an answer and
Yeah.
also say no to ourselves. So learn to say no. And that was, how we turned Anthony around. As I finally learned to
Hmm.
say no and mean it. So number one tip, parents, if your child comes to you and says, can I, what, blah, 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 think before you say yes or no, think. If I say say no, no matter what they do, scream, cry, have a fit, am I going to keep it? No.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because if you're not going to, don't say no to start with.
Yeah.
Because you have got to start changing things, and that's got to be now. The change has
Yeah.
got to be now if you haven't put your foot down before. And I'm not talking about being mean. I'm not talking about discipline, hitting, anything like that. I'm simply talking about, you know what? Back up what you say. So
Hmm.
let me give you an example. Let's say the child's running in the house. Don't just yell, stop running, get up. Don't be mean, just get up. Go to the child, look them in the eye. Sweetheart, we walk in the house. Now, if you want to run, go outside. All right, so then you sit down. The child starts running again. Of course they will. They're children. They're not trying to be ignorant. They're children. So then you say, I see you decided to go outside. Oh, no, I'll be good. I'll be good. Yeah, I know you will next time. Out we go. I'll let you back in 15 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
Go find something to do out in the backyard. And whatever. So if you say there's a follow-up, do it no matter how much the child begs. Let's
Hmm.
go to the grocery store. We're going to the grocery store. Oh boy. Now look, here's what I expect of you. Anywhere you go, parents, tell the child what you expect.
Okay.
Okay, now here at the grocery store, first off, we're going to get in the car, and you're expected to wear that seatbelt. We can't go anywhere without it because one, it's our safety, your safety,
Hmm.
and two, it's the law. So we have to wear our seatbelts, you and me. And then when we get to the grocery store, now look, I'm going to let you walk beside me if you want, but if you get away from me and I can't see you and you can't see me, we got a problem.
Hmm.
Now, don't scare the child. A bad man's going to get you. That's ridiculous. That's too scary. You just say, you know what? I'm not going to run all over the store for you. Let's get things done. So, and are you okay? Do you understand? Yes. Are you willing? So that if I can't see you, you're going to sit in the cart. Understand? Yes. Are you willing? Yeah. Oh, yes, yes. Great. Okay. 2 minutes later, the kid's gone. They run off. I was like, the grocery store's Disneyland to me. I love it,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
all you do is you go get the kid. You don't get mad. You're not mean. You go, I see you decided to sit in the cart. And of course, the child's going to go, oh, I'll be good. I'll be good. Yes, I know you are, honey, in the cart. Next time we shop, we can try again. All right, where are the bananas? Keep them busy, busy, busy. Put something in their hands. Let them unload the groceries onto the conveyor. Give them the money to give the teller. Let them look at what are those numbers up there? Can you tell me the
Mm,
numbers? Is that money? What is that? Just keep them busy the entire time. And even your 20-month-old can hand you things from the basket,
she
can
does.
keep, can point to the bananas, can hold things, so keep them busy and occupied, and you will save yourself so much misery. And always bring a bag of toys, books, colors, paper, pencil for your child. Get away from the iPads, get away from the screens. The child has got to start developing their mind.
Mm.
Get in the car. What do you do in the car? Hey, do you see a red stop sign? Where's the red stop sign? Do you see what color is that car? Do you see any green cars? Tell me when you see a green car. Tell me when you see, depends on how old the child is and how much they can see outside.
Yep,
But
yep,
do you see any trees? Is that a dog barking? What do you think that dog's barking
yep.
about? And of course, there's no right answer.
Hmm.
And then you can have a nice conversation.
Yep.
So engage, 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 but let the child know what's going to happen if they don't behave correctly. All right, so love them enough to say no, and yourself too. Lead by example. Don't smoke. Don't drink.
Yeah.
Don't watch TV all day. Get off your phone. Right, get off your phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Oops.
Totally. Yeah. Do as I
Yeah, that's
say,
so
not as I
true.
do.
Yes, and guess what? They always wind up doing as we do, and they pick up the
Yeah,
worst of us so often.
yeah.
So we need to be cognizant of us, and what helps what helps with leading by example is we need a goal. What I tell the gals when I go to the jail and the treatment center too for
Mm,
substance abusers, I say, you have got to have a plan to win.
mm,
If you don't have a plan to win, you're planning to fail.
yeah,
What's your plan to win? To
yeah.
win with substance abuse, to win with, and the main thing, and this is for parents too, just live one day at a time, mom and dad. Don't worry about yesterday. Don't worry about tomorrow. If you do the right thing today, your tomorrows are going to be absolutely
Mm,
wonderful.
I love
Just
that.
do what you can today.
There's
Because
so,
we're so overwhelmed. So much has to be done.
yes.
Just do what you can today, and tomorrow will take care of itself. So that's another good tip. That has definitely changed my life and helped me because I used to
Mm,
worry all the time. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? This has to be done, that has to be done. Okay, what can I do today? What's the most important, and what can I do today? So now where are we? Lead by example. So show your child responsibility.
hmm.
You make your bed and then help your child make their bed depending on their
Yeah.
age. Your child should have a chore chart. Okay, even your 20-month-old needs to have chores. Does she brush her teeth? Does she put her
Hmm.
cup in the sink? Does she, whatever she does, she need to go buy her that little broom, Nathaniel.
She has it.
She's got to have that little broom,
She
that little
loves
vacuum.
I'm actually amazed at how helpful she is naturally inclined. She always wants to participate and I try to include her in everything as much as possible. We both do. Because I think it's so important, right? She just wants to just be part of everything we're doing. Yeah.
Right. Yes. And family is the basis of society. A
Yeah.
happy, productive family creates a happy, productive society. She wants to contribute. We've got to let her. Children want to contribute. And every time we say, oh, honey, no, I don't want you to do that. I had to do that when I was a kid.
Hmm.
You're just a kid. You just have fun.
Yeah.
Guess what? That doesn't work at all. That creates children who don't know how to say no to themselves,
Yeah.
who don't accept no for an answer, and they become spoiled, entitled people who never help anyone.
Yeah.
So we have got to learn to lead by example and let our children do these things. Now let's get to let them fail. All right. Yes. You know what? You're gonna let a 20-month-old crack an egg into a bowl. Okay, we're gonna let her do it. But guess what? I'm not gonna let her crack the egg into the big bowl where I've got all the other ingredients. I'm gonna let her practice cracking the egg into a separate bowl so I can get
Mm,
all the shells out. But
yeah,
she still gets to participate and it's still cool,
yeah,
and she can learn how to pick out shells, you know?
yeah, yeah,
So you can fill up a cup with the flour and let her pour the cup in there. Don't give her the whole bag.
yeah,
Uh, there are so many ways. Little kids, little 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds can wash dishes if you put a little step stool
mm,
there and help them.
yeah,
So let them contribute. They want to contribute. And if you don't let them contribute, they won't contribute when they're older. And then
yeah,
there you are saying, you know what, you're supposed to take out the trash. Why isn't the trash out? How many times do I have to tell you to
yeah.
take out the trash?
Isn't it true? You know, it's so funny, Martha. I really appreciate. I mean, there's so much wisdom you just shared in such a concentrated amount. It sounds like you've been talking about this book for a long time because it's a part of you can see you've lived through it, and you know, it's interesting because I grew up in a home where doing chores and everything was very much expected. We all had things to do, and I think to the degree where our parents, especially my mom, liked us to kind of take care of her and take a lot of off her plate. You know, maybe in some instances too much. And then my partner Julia grew up in a very different home where her mom did everything for her children. So Julia didn't even like know how to cook or anything. Whereas I was like, as soon as I could reach the counter, I was helping with baking and cooking. And as soon as I
Wow.
was mature enough, my sister and I each had to make a couple meals a week, you know, and we just, it was part of country living. And Julia had more city experience. So now we're looking with our daughter, like, we talk a lot, and we talk a lot with Luciana too about how to find the middle line where we really teach her the joy of doing things, not out of subservience, but really there's a joy in work. There's a joy in contributing, and I love that's one word that really stood out to me because in part of creating our education association, one of the things I noticed in a lot of different perspectives in education, I've worked, you know, professionally in education and done various different levels, but I always felt like education, the system, is not real education because it's all about cramming stuff instead of drawing out our natural tendencies like contribution. And there's this kind of underlying message that you will be able to contribute to society once you graduate. But I really love what you say about what's your plan to win for today, because our children can contribute to the household, and if they catch this early on in life, they're going to start thinking bigger. Like, how can I contribute to my neighborhood? Can I do like a garbage cleanup, or how can I contribute to, you know, the country, and start thinking these bigger ways. And if that's, you know, the foundation is there, that's so important. So I really love that. I think having a plan to win, that because sometimes we think winning is like winning the lottery, and it's this far future thing that may or may not happen. But this idea of creating a plan that empowers that winning, and creates healthy hormones for our health, like, all that is so wonderful. So thank you for bringing that all together in such a wonderful book where parents can get it all in one place. It's amazing, and I see you have all your contact information there. I'm
Well,
curious. I'm curious. What what is the spark that really makes you most excited and feeling alive and like springing out of bed? Like, have you had some real connections with parents that have had similar transformations to like some of the work you're doing? And thank you, by the way, for your service of going helping people with substance abuse issues. It's so wonderful that you do that. I'm curious to know, like, what are some ways that you've connected with parents and seen your work be impactful in their life?
well, yes, all the time. I talk with parents all the time, and especially I am very involved in the substance abuse community, and you know, in fact, I just gave a talk at a substance abuse community for mothers, young mothers,
Hmm.
and one woman there had 3 children. I think the oldest was 4,
Hmm.
and she was a lovely girl, but she was an addict. And what did I tell her? Like I told everyone, I said, you know what? You just worry about what you can do today
Hmm.
and have a plan. What am I going to do today to stay sober? And what am I going to do today to help my children, to help myself, to have a good life? Because the seeds of tomorrow come from what we plant today.
So
And
true.
that's why the reason I wrote Yes, You Can Raise Happy, Responsible Children is because that information turned our lives around, Nathaniel. We
Yeah.
were miserable. I remember my mother-in-law said to me once, Anthony'd be a nice child if he'd just take no for an answer. I remember
Mm,
thinking to myself, yeah, Mom, you're really right. And then, but at the time I was like, I don't, how's that going to happen? Like, how's that going to happen? And one time, okay, my mother and my mother-in-law took Anthony, he was about 3, and they took him to the park, and he was spoiled and he was rotten, and those are his behavior was spoiled. His
yes.
behavior
Gotcha.
was rotten. He wasn't he was a lovely child, but not real pleasant to be around a lot of times. But anyway, he wouldn't do as they told him. And I'm very strict, and we never hit people. We don't hit any living thing. And even yelling, there's no need to yell even, but we
hmm
do. But so I would tell my mother, Mother, we never spank, we don't hit, we don't slap, nothing like that. Well, anyway, my mom had had enough of him, and he would not do what she told him. And so she gave him a swat on his bottom, and he was wearing a diaper or something. So it really wasn't even a big deal, but it was more to get his attention.
hmm
And I remember, being so self-righteous. That was, oh goodness, we're going back, oh good Lord, a long, long time ago. And my mom told me, and I said, Mom, like I knew like I knew better than my mother, who had raised 3, and
Yeah.
who turned out to be pretty decent human beings. So, the whole idea, why am I bringing that up? The whole idea that if you don't teach yourself and your children to say no, to accept
Yes.
no, it's misery. And that is why I'm so passionate about this, because
Yeah.
it did change our lives. And I was taking these classes, which I offer an 8-week class, a 4-week class. It's 4 weeks.
Okay.
We're going to change your child in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
If you do what I tell you, just like those people said, if you do what we tell you, you're going to have a new child. And I did. But every week, Nathaniel, I would go to these classes. And so we would do one thing. We would only work on one thing every week. And I'm going to tell parents right now, guess what? The first thing you can do to restore and improve relationship with your child, no matter how bad it is only notice they're good.
Mm,
Focus on everything they do good and say, wow, I
so
really like the way
important.
you do that. Oh, I didn't notice you like that. Wow, how did you do that?
Mm,
That's all you have to do. Just make sure you say 1 or 2 positive things, nothing negative, and then at night say, I'm really glad you're my child. I
yeah.
love you so much.
Yeah.
And in the morning, good morning. So happy to see you. And I just got to throw these other tips out. No criticism, no
hmm
problems at mealtime.
hmm
Mealtime is for fun, for the
Yeah.
family to sit and have a good conversation. If you have to discuss something with your child, make an appointment. Say, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm concerned about such and such. What's a good time to talk about it? Let's put it on our calendar.
Yeah.
And then sit down and have an adult conversation. And if the child says, no, I don't want to, say, you know what, sweetheart, I'm really concerned, and this is kind of getting out of hand, and we really do need to talk about it. Let's put it on our calendar.
Yeah.
Let's reserve 5 minutes to get
Mm,
started on it. Okay, what time you got? Just and then push that way. Don't get mean about it. Because what happens is people get so aggravated with kids, they're on their phone all day, their grades are slipping, and then mom or dad gets mad, takes the phone and throws it, and then now everybody's
yeah.
miserable. The kid
Yeah.
starts having a tantrum and breaks things and
Of
everything
course.
else. So we have to start relating to our children as humans,
Yeah.
as people who can problem solve
hmm
and who we can help and who can also help us. And we're all, the family, we all are there for each other to help
Yeah.
each other. That's why we all clean the house together. We all help, mom isn't the only one who should be doing the dishes. You know what? I can
Yeah.
do the dishes too. Mom's not the only one that cleans the bathroom. Let's all clean the bathroom. This makes our home nice and
Yeah.
pleasant and a place where we want to come. And I got one more tip. You have anything that you want to say in the middle?
Yeah, well, I just think there's so much wisdom in this that you're talking about. Like, I mean, the boundary setting with no is so important, right? To have healthy boundaries. Like, a lot of people think they want freedom, but freedom can only really come when you have structure, because if you just have chaos, you can't really be free. It's just chaos, right? So freedom comes from having that kind of discipline, but that comes from within, not. And so I love that you just focus on the positive. I think that is so important to sustaining the long-term relationship of the parent and the child, and it's positive reinforcement rather than, like you say, gave the example of throwing a phone. That's negative reactivity that only reinforces more, especially if the child is still in a phase of wanting the attention from the parent, they'll learn to do negative things. I think there's so much value. And also, I think Julia would really, I've loved to be part of the conversation, especially around the mealtime, because, it's also so much rooted in holistic science and health and wellness. Like when we're eating food, you don't want to go into your sympathetic nervous system and go into fight or flight and get all stressed out. I mean, you're going to stop the digestive process. It's not good for anyone, and it creates so much tension in the family. So I really love that you are, taking all these, like, I feel like these are very common sense, values that from various, pardon me, from various, periods of time that all made sense. And then we're kind of see, I mean, my mom was a nanny, and see, on the topic of not saying no to children, she had one child that she would talk about where her parents would absolutely never say no to her, and she was, as she described, a little tyrant. She was absolutely the ruler of the household, and she knew it, and it was just so. It was so stressful for my mom and for those parents. They just did not have control over that. So, yeah, I love that you're bringing a lot of these values back in a very digestible way to people. So, thank you for being a light in that way.
Great, thank you. Okay, now I'm going to give you two more tips. Let's
All
start with
right.
one. You stop, mom, dad, whatever. Just put one meal on the table. The child won't eat it. Say, you know what? This is what we're eating. You can have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich if you won't eat this that you can make yourself, or something else, crackers, whatever. You know what? We are not short order cooks. Life is too complicated these days.
Mm.
That is not how life rolls. So here's what's for dinner. If you don't like it, hey, try again tomorrow. Okay. You can have peanut butter and jelly, but that's it. You can have banana, but I am not going to like, I'm not a short order cook, so this is what's available. Stop giving in to your children and stop making everything they want, giving it to them, because that makes it very
Mm.
difficult. Also, it is so important, parents, that you know who your child's friends are.
Hmm.
Once a month, open your home, have a Friday night dinner, and have your children invite their friends over for dinner. Then you can see firsthand how those children act.
Hmm.
Because unfortunately, there are many children at school who do not have good behaviors, who are influencing your child, and many children who are bullies and unpleasant human beings control the school, and they know it. And your child wants to be a part of that child's posse
Hmm.
because that child's popular.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, this happens too often. So when you have those children come to your house once a month, you know who they are. You
Yeah.
get to see who your child's hanging around with and what's going on.
Yeah.
And then that way you can have discussions with your child. Oh, what do you think about so and so? Oh, well, what makes him so popular? What do you think makes him popular? And that's another thing. Okay, so I gave you those two tips, and we cover so much of this in the book in bullet form. Yes, you can raise happy, responsible children. But you know what James Wayne Dyer said, and you've already mentioned him. Um, his daughter came home. Billy doesn't like me.
Hmm.
Oh no. And most parents would say, oh, well, honey, let's see what we can do to make Billy like you. No, Wayne
Yeah.
said, well, do you like you? No,
Mm.
it doesn't matter what Billy thinks. What do you think of
Yeah. Yeah.
yourself?
So
Are you
important.
doing the right thing? And all of my people who say to me, I'm lonely on this, I said, you know what? You're lonely because you need to be a friend. And I
Yeah.
used to be terribly lonely. Oh my goodness, when I was in high school, and my brothers were so popular.
Mm.
It's, but me, oh, poor me, I only had one or two friends at a time. And so I always felt so lonely. But what I didn't realize is that in order to have a friend, you need to be a friend.
Yeah.
I wanted everybody to come to me. Oh,
Yeah.
and invite me places. I never invited anybody anywhere because I was so, insecure and
Mm.
everything. So to have a friend, you need to be a friend. Don't expect people to be beating a path to your door. You need to go
Yeah.
knock on theirs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
guess what?
So important.
Accept no for an answer, because you know what? Next. Okay,
Yeah.
you're not any worse off if someone, hey, you want to go to the show with me? No. Okay, you're not any worse off. Did you have somebody to go show with before? No. Did you had so now go find somebody else. The
Yeah.
average salesman, 10 times, nine no's, one yes,
Yeah.
before. So it's 10 interactions before they get one yes. So, hey, you get a no. Okay, next. Or ask another person, do it another way, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't accept, if you really, really want something, never take no for an answer.
Yeah. I really appreciate that perspective on resiliency and nurturing that from a young age, I think is so important. And you mentioned it in another instance too, back to the meal, is like you were talking about scheduling, interactions and conversations. And I really appreciate that a lot of your work has to do with intentionality, like setting expectations, communicating those expectations, and then same thing with scheduling. I mean, really, what I see you offering is a way to help parents guide their children into a place that they can be entrepreneurial, because that requires a lot of proactivity, a lot of learning new skills, and being a self-starter, and having that resiliency, because like any of us know who have gone down an entrepreneurial path, it is a roller coaster, and you have to keep moving forward. Otherwise, you just will sink, and then eventually you'll start saying no to yourself on your dreams, right? So very powerful stuff,
That's right.
Martha. Very, very, very wonderful tips, as you say. I think they're teachings really at the heart, and I can see that they've come from wisdom. So what is your vision for, like you mentioned, school environments? Maybe I should put this some context here. Part of what we see our mission here, through Lightheart Vision, is to awaken, parents, conscious parents, and educators to really feel alive within themselves, to connect with who they really are, so that they can have like that deep connection with their children. And we really believe in homeschool,
Mm.
but with the broader acronym of heaven on Mother Earth. And we believe that heaven is a state of consciousness. It's not a place that we go to when we pass. It's really, we can build it here from forging those relationships. And I felt what you said is a perfect segue to this, because you talk about being a friend to yourself, right? And I think it was Dr. Shafali who, we were reading one of her books on conscious parenting. She says it's called parenting because you're supposed to do the inner work as the parent. It's not called childing. So it's not about controlling your children. It's about really developing that rapport. And you've rephrased it now, I think, even a more intimate way. It's like, it's being a friend to yourself, having your own
Mm.
boundaries, and then leading by example, as you say. So what would your vision of a world where parents are actively engaged in their children's lives? How do you think that would be what would that world look like? And what would you be doing in that world?
Oh my goodness, that's a heavy question there, Nathaniel. Well,
Hopefully
I
it's
would
an expansive one, not too heavy. I
good
love I,
question.
I think higher visions are important, and you're an inspiring woman who's helping people. So I'd love to hear your vision, even if it's just, what first comes to mind.
Yeah. Well, my vision is, I want my book all over the world. My vision is to sell 100,000 copies by
Beautiful.
April, because I want them in people's hands so
Hmm.
that they can, their lives can change the way that mine did. And speaking of teaching, teachers have read my book, and there was a woman who was teaching a kindergarten class, and she said it was the worst class she had ever had. She didn't know what she was going to do, and she read the book and she took one tip, and that was as soon as. As
Hmm.
soon as everybody's seated, we can start this. As soon as Billy sits down, we can. As soon as she said, it totally turned her classroom around. It's the same thing in your house. Don't
Hmm.
say if everybody's
Oh yeah.
quiet. No, no. As
Yeah. As
soon
soon
as.
as.
Then
Yeah.
that's called grandma's rule. So yes,
I
my
like it.
my goal is, and this is my first book, and this is for parents. My next one's for teachers. It's already halfway done. But it's relationships. We don't
Mhm.
seem to understand relationships. And also, it's getting the judgment out of things. There are
Mhm.
some behaviors they cannot continue. So we have to have a conversation, and it has to be, this behavior can't continue.
Yeah.
What are we going to do about it? There are consequences. If you're not going to take out the trash, here's what happens when people don't do their job. We have to pay other people to do it, don't we? So if I have to take out your trash, it's $5, $10, whatever. So, I stopped when Anthony was young. I would put up notes, so he wouldn't become mother deaf.
Mm.
Get your whatever, get your books, whatever it was, and I would put up notes, and like make sure the water's turned off or whatever
Mm.
it was. So I would always have those notes around, so then I didn't have to say anything. He
Yeah.
would see the note, and then luckily in cars, when you don't connect your seatbelt, the car does it for you. Thank you, because They used to have to go seat belt,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't drive until he had his seatbelt on when he was younger. And we didn't have little dingers back then. But now, hey, thanks, car. That does it for me. So, yes, so you don't want your children to become parent deaf. So put up
Hmm.
notes, uh, and make sure that they look at them, so you don't have
Yeah.
just, and a lot of times you don't have to say anything, just put the note there. Put a note on the garbage can. Garbage
Yeah.
must go out 7 p.m. Thursday night, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And if it's late, you owe me $10. At 7:05,
Mhm.
if I have to take it out, I want $5 from you or $10. So make those, tell the
Yeah.
child beforehand, not after. So make those decisions and stop. That's how children become parent deaf. We're always telling them, reminding them, stop reminding,
Yeah.
put up a checklist. When they're small, like your daughter, put pictures, pretty pictures of a toothbrush and,
Okay.
whatever, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, I gotta stop doing hitting the computer there. I really appreciate that again with the conscious boundary setting and showing like being very clear with expectations. I feel like that's a really big theme. And something comes to mind like from an entrepreneurial lens and as I've learned about, presenting to people and stuff, people believe what they see, they don't believe what they hear. For whatever reason, the brain is like that. So I think the notes, it's like it's a tangible thing that's going to stick in their mind. They've seen it visually, and so I think that's a really wonderful tip to help parents to decide. I'm sure there's so many parents who are just trying to give their children clear expectations, but it's clearly not working because they have to repeat themselves so much. So I haven't gotten in that phase, so I'm gonna do my best to prevent it and utilize this to the best advantage that we can. So it's really brilliant. Thank you, Martha.
and
You're so full of wisdom.
And on your little note, don't make it a mean note. Put a smiley face on it or something. Make it
Yeah.
lighthearted.
Yeah, yeah, it's so important, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, if I feel like I got to a point where I just go and proactively do dishes all the time, and it doesn't bother me. There was a time where I felt like I feel like I'm kind of being taken advantage here. I'm always doing other people's dishes, but now I reframe that, and I see it as like it's a place where I can go and have gratitude for the meal and gratitude that we gathered and just do the dishes. And I like staying active anyways. So if I can contribute, so I feel like these kind of skill sets and disciplines that you're offering really can help that overall mindset that person develop into a full, wholesome, contributing member of a family, community, and the world. So
And
it's
that's such a
wonderful.
good point. The marriage relationship is very important. I even have a chapter, how to strengthen your marriage, because the mom and dad come first. Whether
Mm.
if you're together, that's wonderful. If you're not, do not talk about each other behind,
Yeah.
in front of your children. Don't say negative things. That relationship is so important. But I want to tell you a short story about what you were talking about doing the dishes. Okay, now I live with my older brother, whom I love best. But um he's been divorced a couple of times, so he lives in this big house. He's alone, he has no children, so I moved in with him and my son. Anyway, so one day I was and they take care of themselves, they wash their own dishes, but sometimes there'll be one or two dishes in the sink. One day there was a couple of dishes in the sink and I'm washing them and I'm like, does nobody do anything around here but me? So typical. I think that's how a lot of us, when I bring this up, a lot of people feel the same way. Does nobody take the dogs out but me? Does nobody, nobody does anything but me. We all love to be a victim, I guess. Anyway, so I'm whining, washing these two or three dishes, and I look out the window. My brother's cutting the lawn, mowing the lawn, and my son's on a ladder cleaning the gutters. And so I thought to myself, okay, Martha, you want to wash a couple of dishes or you want to mow the lawn and clean the gutters?
Yeah, yeah, wow. What a beautiful reflection and catching yourself in a pattern, right? It's funny, you brought up Wayne Dyer's certainly been a guide for us. I feel like he continues to be a guide in so many ways in our lives. And I remember him talking about he was really the person who brought to my attention that a meme is a mind virus. It's not those little pictures on the internet that say something funny. So it's like I feel like we have these collective memes in our collective consciousness, like, oh, that victim kind of thinking that you said is, it might not even be our original thought. We've just kind of tuned into it. We heard it somewhere and we repeat it to ourselves. But then what a beautiful reflection that life gave you of like, look at what other people are doing, and to remember that, I feel like just on the topic of work, there's this beautiful tapestry of work going on behind the scenes of existence all of the time. If we just consider our own bodies, we're a microbiome of trillions of cells, and many of which are symbiotic relationships, like different microbiome that are not human DNA. There's all this work going on behind creation, the seasons of life, and we've taken on a lot of beliefs as a species about work. Work is 9 to 5, and you get paid for trading your time for money and all this stuff. But there is this work that's ongoing, and I feel like if there would be an appreciation of that, and we would find more of a coherent relationship and harmony with nature. So I love that what you're introducing to children, and that parenting child relationship, because the parent is also having to unlearn a lot of things, having to decondition their own minds from some of the things that they've picked up along the journey, and the child can be a great reflection of that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
If we have time, I'd like to give you a short exercise you could do
sure.
with your
We
spouse,
have
with
we
your
have as much
parent.
time as we need.
Okay,
So yeah.
great. With your older children, even your 7-year-old, um, I think 5 on up. Anyway, I used to go to Jack Canfield seminars. He endorsed
Hmm.
my book,
Oh,
Choose Your Peace.
wonderful. That's
And yeah,
amazing.
Jack's the entire well, okay, the entire back of my book is Jack's endorsement, and he
Okay.
says, I mean, it's 3 paragraphs, but the main thing is this book has the potential to transform the lives of families worldwide.
Wow.
And yeah, I know Jack's right because it transformed the life of my family. But anyway, an exercise that Jack had us do, we're going back decades. My mother has passed since then. But my mother was one of those mothers that she never told me anything I did right because she thought she'd spoil me. So I
Mm,
always thought I was a total nitwit.
yeah.
I was, not pretty enough, not skinny enough, not smart enough, not enough, period.
Yeah.
And so many people suffer from that.
Yeah.
And so I thought my mother always thought I was just useless, completely useless. So Jack said, you know what, you need to go, and he was telling us all at a seminar. You go to the person and you say, you know what, let's focus on our positives. Let's sit down. I'm going to write 10 positive things about you. You write 10 positive things about me. And then we'll share our list when we're done. Let's set the timer for 5 minutes. And it took me, I called my mother. I called my mother up and I said, Mom, I got an idea. No, I was at her house. I said, Mom, I got an idea. Here's something I'd like us to do. She goes, oh no, not another harebrained idea. Oh, now, Mom. And then so I told her what it was, and I said, Mom, you write 10 nice things about me, and I'm going to write 10 nice things about you. We'll do it at the same time. She goes, what a harebrained idea. I said, nice things, Mom, nice things. But you know what? She was willing to do it. So
Okay.
we sat down. Okay. So Nathaniel, all right, I'm writing and I get it all, I got 10 things, boom, and I look over at my mom and she's like this. Like she really had to think hard
Yeah.
for some nice things
Oh,
about
my
me.
heart goes out to you.
But she handed me her list.
Mm,
This was years, I mean, decades ago.
mm,
And it made me cry to this day.
mm,
My mother said, she, she said on her list was, you're a good mother. I
mm,
mean, I was just in shock. And she said, you're a good wife and you make your
mm,
husband feel, secure. And I was just, and she said I was intelligent and she was so happy. She was my mother. And I was like
wow.
absolutely floored. I had no idea. So you can feel, I
Mm,
still feel
yeah.
that was like the most wonderful day of my life. And it
Wow.
gave me courage to do other things. So
Mm,
I really recommend that if you're with a loved one or you have any kind of difficulty in a relationship or you
yeah.
want to make it stronger, do that exercise.
Wow.
Nice things, only nice things.
What a
And then
beautiful exercise.
put that paper, laminate it or put it in a plastic sheet and never lose it.
Mm, mm,
And then 20, 30 years later, you'll open a drawer and you'll see it there. Yeah,
yeah.
wonderful.
I think that's such a powerful tool. Thank you for expressing that. It takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable, and I could see you found a, maybe for lack of better terms, a chink in your mother's armor and allowed her to be vulnerable with you by showing up authentically and wanting to connect with her. I see a lot of the work that you're doing is really about that connection, and I keep seeing this as a theme come up more and more, that connection really is the new currency as we enter into an era where emergent technologies are automating a lot of things for human beings. It's going to result in a lot of positive things like more time, probably better quality of life, access to, new resources and abundance of monies and things like that for folks, and maybe we'll have negative impacts as well. But I think one of the things that's going to emerge from it is that human beings are going to see really how essential that connection is important. So I implore your goal of reaching every family in the world. I think Jack Canfield is a real inspiration. I've gained so much from reading his material as well, and seeing him bring together people's stories of inspiration, like, in so many ways. So I think it's absolutely fantastic. I very much look forward to reading your book. I'm sorry I haven't in advance, but I would love to have a follow up with you. And I also, it feels on my heart, I don't share this with all of our audience members, but I found a platform, Martha, and I see you're on a mission. And I really feel like this platform on the internet is going to revolutionize the whole internet. I really believe in it because it's the first time I've been online and found authentic connection with people that are truly engaged. And it's all focused on that. There's no ads. There's no, you know, it's really an environment that's been designed where we can all rise up together, including financially as well. There's like affiliate systems built into it, and I really could see you finding and tapping into an amazing audience of the people who want to cheer you on and help you fulfill your mission. One of the founders, he came in later, but he's very active. Alex Hermosi. I really appreciate his teachings around entrepreneurship, and he just did an amazing book launch. It broke world records,
Wow.
and he how he did it was really innovative. I think that he had people who were willing to be generous by from I think 20 extra copies of the book to all the way up to 1,000, and he had these amazing offers to help entrepreneurs to implement generosity in their models. And I could see a similar model working for your work.
Yeah.
Anyways, the platform is called School with a K. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've heard of it. Have you
Yes.
heard of it?
Yes.
Yeah, and a lot of people maybe aren't aware of what exactly it is. I'm not like I'm not paid from school, or I'm just telling you my generating experience. I started putting Light Heart Community on there, Light Heart Vision Community, um, and I've just really been blown away. Like I feel like it's the first time I'll want to engage and then leave as the social media environment. I see it as something more expansive than that, but and I feel positive. I feel like I've had uplifting conversations, and it's the first time. So I'm extending. I'll extend an invitation to our community if you want to kind of just come in and see what it's free to join, and you can engage in
Great.
some people because there's some other podcast guests that have come in as well. Like I was thinking, I believe it was Tina Chachich who you talked about the victim role. Her whole perspective is helping people break that cycle of victim, savior, and villain, and how to let go of the villain in her life. She sees this, we all have these parts that we play and how to transcend that. Anyways, I mean, I see your passion. I love your energy. You're just so, you see the transformation you've seen in your own life. And I'd like to ask you this. Again, I don't ask all of our, I've asked a couple of our guests, but if you had a megaphone and you could talk to the whole world and they all could listen to you all at once, maybe it would be a big note with you, like a big note. What would you say to the world?
Oh my goodness. That's certainly a question. You know what I'd say? It's all going to work out. Just do what you can today. Just do what you can today. And oh, and you know what else? Just be nice. Be kind. You don't always have to have a snotty comment to come back. So often when people say things that we find, oh, well, let me give you an example. This girl on Facebook, She belonged to the Law of Attraction group, and she was a little chubby. She went to the grocery store, and an older man said to her, you'd be very pretty if you'd lose weight.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. She was so offended. How did I attract him into my life? Blah, blah, blah. And everybody's like, oh my goodness, he was so mean, blah, blah. And I said, you know what? It's very rare that someone will just approach you to be mean. I really believe that he thought he was helping you, concerned about your health. And in his mind, he thought that if he told you, what he did, that it would help you. He was in no way trying to hurt you. So my why am I telling that story? Because when people say things we don't want to hear, like you're a bad mother, oh, well, thank you for telling me. What makes you say that? Get the information.
Yeah.
What makes you say that? I students who are my F&D students, sometimes they'd come to me and say, you know what, you don't know how to teach me. And I would say, you know what, you could be right.
Hmm.
So, and I want you to learn,
Hmm.
and I want to do whatever it is that'll help you learn. But you know what? I need you to help me. You
Yeah.
need to write down what I'm doing wrong and what I need to do to help you so that
Hmm.
you can learn. I never got a single letter, of course, because people like to complain and blame.
Hmm.
So when someone comes to you and says something, just, don't take it. Just go, oh goodness, well, why do you tell me that? Why do you say that? Great. Okay, thank you. Now I know. Boom. That's all. Don't
Yeah.
defend yourself. There's no need for it. Nobody wants to hear it anyway.
You're such an example of both of those words, happy responsibility. I feel like that's such a responsible thing to do, because it's so easy to kind of take something that someone says in out of context and not give it your own meaning without really understanding their perspective. So just that compassionate inquiry to really want to know, like, if I think that's really a valuable perspective that just that's such a different life of potential expressed. Someone who's really, you know, able to hear a truth that maybe the person saying, and they might reveal, hey, you know what, I just you hurt me, and I just wanted to make you feel bad or something. Like, that truth may come out, and then there's an opportunity to make amends. But like you said, it could be a meaning is like, a deeper meaning of concern, or care, or love. And sometimes love comes in different forms. It's not always just soft pillows and rainbows and unicorns. It's like, you're going to hurt yourself if you continue to do that, and I'm not going to let you hurt
Right.
yourself.
Oh,
So,
and Nathaniel, if I had the megaphone here's it just occurred to me. Here's what I'd say: failure, never quit. Do not. I was kicked out of 2 colleges. Was
wow.
such a mess. I was an absolute mess. And I was crying to my mother. Oh my goodness. And what am I going to do? I had a 1.0 GPA. And my mother said, you're going to march right back to that college and ask them to let you back in, which I did. And they said, yes, you've got 6 months probation. Don't make less than a C. If you screw up again, we've had enough of you. And you know what? That's exactly, I needed those consequences.
Yeah.
I grew up and I buckled down, and guess what? I'm PhD all but dissertation now. So you know what?
Amazing. Congratulations. That's awesome,
Never
Martha.
say never.
Yeah.
Never say never.
I really appreciate that motto. I think it's really important, especially for parents, for educators, for entrepreneurs. You brought together all of those different areas that we like to talk about and build bridges between. This idea of failure. You know, this is another thing that we've seen in the education system is we've been, you know, conditioned to be afraid to fail and seek that grade over the learning, perhaps, and we can create generate a sense of fear of trying new things as we grow in the world. Like, children don't have that. They'll keep falling down. They'll be very spontaneous until they just get the real consequence of falling, a certain way or whatever. And I really appreciate that message to the world. I think everyone needs to hear that, because we all need to fail more. I hear that message many times. It's not so much failure, it's we need to grow more through those learnings, because success, from my opinion at least, is inevitable as long as you just continue on the road, keep learning, keep taking those steps forward. You're going to meet people that help you in unexpected ways. You're going to discover new dimensions of awareness, as long as you just keep moving forward one step at a time.
Right. Don't quit. Don't hide in your basement. Stop watching television all the time and get off Facebook and start living your life. There are
Yep.
pets and shelters that need help. If you're feeling lonely, there are nursing homes of desperate, lonely people.
Mhm.
Everybody's dead. They're all by themselves. They could use a friend. So if you need a friend, you go be a friend.
Yeah. What a beautiful message. It's so valuable. I mean, you've shared so much, golden insights and wisdom. Um, I see you have, ways that people can access your book and connect with you. But how else do people connect with you? You mentioned you have a 4 or an 8 week course. Like, are you traveling, doing a book tour, Martha? How can people connect with you to find out more?
Oh, that's great. Well, they can go to my website, marthaburich.com, and they can email me at marthaburich.com. Go to Facebook, Martha Burich Parenting. Go to YouTube at Martha Burich Parenting. So there are a lot of different ways that you can see what I have out there and to connect with me. That'd be great. I would love it. I would love to hear from anyone. If anyone has any comments or questions, I absolutely would love it.
Yeah, let's help Martha with
Always
this
packing.
goal of reaching the parent. And I really appreciate what you said, that the family is the structure of our society, and we see a sea shift in people showing up, in a more conscious way as parents, and recognizing that a lot of the things that maybe have happened are not. So what a beautiful resources that you've created. And I'm excited to see your book for teachers as well. Love to have you back on the show to talk about that book and help with its launch or promotion in any way that we can, Martha. I'm going to check out your book. I look forward to reading it, and I'll be in connection with you, if to ask you questions, and keep up with your mission of changing the world from the family, from the inside of the family out. I think that's so important, in our world today. Yeah, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Nathaniel. This has been an absolute blessing of an experience. Very wonderful. You're an excellent, excellent podcast host. I appreciate it.
Oh, I really appreciate you saying that so much. Thank you so much, Martha. All right. Well, to all of our listeners, our blessings go with you. Remember to, as Martha reminded us, be lighthearted, and to connect with your loved ones in meaningful ways. And if anything, the number one thing I'm going to take from this show is really listen with that compassion and deep inquiry. And I think if we all did that with one another, the world would be such a place, such a wonderful place, in all kinds of respects. Maybe we can't even imagine yet. Is there anything else you'd like to leave with our listeners, Martha?
That's it. One day at a time. Just do